The final episode. Today we are going to talk about, I have notes here. See, I did prepare a little bit, contrary to popular belief. We're going to talk about our aspirations for the future as business owners and in terms of what we're looking to leave as a legacy in our business and for our family. Welcome to episode 4 of this series. Welcome, Braden Burton. I am stoked that you are here for this. My husband, my business partner, my love, all of the things. We're going to talk about legacy today. And legacy is something that a lot of people don't think about. I would say that most people are constantly living in reaction mode to life, right? They're letting life just happen to them, like coming with the punches, and they're just like reacting over here, and they're not actually taking action towards what they want to accomplish in life. So you're very, like, Braden taught me goals. Before, this is a great story. He actually, so people are always like, Courtney, how did you get into personal development and business development and growth? And I'm like, this man right here is the one that got me into it. And my very first Tony Robbins event, Braden took me to, and I went seriously because I'd watched that movie, You're Not My Guru, the Tony Robbins movie. And there's that scene in it where, like, the dude is standing up and Tony's like, well, obviously you're not happy in your relationship. He's like coaching this person, and the dude's like calling this lady and like breaking up with her. And so Braden was going to this event, and we're at this point in our relationship that he is growing a lot. And it is hard in relationships. It's hard in relationships when one person is growing rapidly and reaching for new goals rapidly, and the other person is not. And
you ever seen like the relationship and one person wants to travel the world and the other person's just a homebody, or right? Like that's the perfect example.
And that was like where we were pretty much. Like Braden had started going to Tony Robbins and started personal development and business development and had these big aspirations for our life. And literally my aspiration was like, can we live in a treehouse in the jungle somewhere? And he was like, this is your vision for life? Like, you want to live in a treehouse in a jungle? I'm like, yes, but I just didn't know how to articulate. I wanted the freedom to live how I wanted to live. Anyway, you're the one who got me into learning about setting goals and personal development, because I was scared that he was going to go to this event without me, and like I was going to get the phone call from Braden being like, all right, babe, like this isn't working out anymore because we're not on the same page as far as our goals and our vision. How, this is gonna be like a really weird question. There's no like, because I get asked a lot, because a lot of times it's opposite. A lot of times the woman, especially in the industry I'm in with coaching, it is the female that's like getting into personal development and reading books and growing. And it's the man that's like, what's wrong with our life? How did it feel for you when you started growing at this rapid rate and I was just like back here stagnant?
Well, I think a lot of people are just scared to set goals because they don't know if they're achievable, you know. And I think for Courtney, she was pretty happy at the time, though, you know. She was content with like, I'm a waitress. Maybe we go live in a tree house for a while or whatever, you know. And so again, I think for us, like, we're just really good at having those tough conversations. And I was like, hey, Courtney, like, I want more. I'm tired of like going to work, just grinding it out to, you know, not feel successful or just reaching for more in life, you know. And I think, like I said, a lot of people are just scared to reach for more because it seems unattainable, or you kind of start to think about the how, or realizing like, oh man, that's a lot of work to get there, you know?
Or the what if I fail?
And then it's easier to just seek comfort and stay where I am than try to expand and grow. Because like growth and comfort don't exist together, you know? Like it's hard to constantly keep growing and like to constantly keep growing, right? Like, cool, we started our company, we could just stay as is and stay where we're at, but now obviously, as you guys can tell, like we both have this big growth mindset and constantly expanding. And so like for me, I'm going through that again right now of like, I need to expand who I am to be able to get to this kind of next level.
And I think that's key what you just said. You have to expand who you are to get to the next level.
Yeah, and it's tough if you have someone that's not in your corner or wanting to do the same thing, right? And so that's where it's
How did you get me in your corner?
Well, I mean, I said, hey, I'm going to this event, and you're like, you kind of saw it, I think, and right? So the flags come on of like, oh, I need to get moving here too, or I'm going to get left behind, or I don't know. I think it causes conflict when you don't. Again, it's just communication of like, hey, this is kind of where I see us going, and if you're over here and you see us going that way, then obviously, we're not heading in the same direction. And so I think just having clarity of that and what you're setting out to do. And I mean, I think you could still have those differences in a relationship. Like you can just still go travel solo, right? Like we've had guests on our global trips we did that they just come and travel by themselves because their partner didn't want to travel, and maybe that's the way around that. But for us, we kind of, again, we're on the same team and we like to do stuff together. So we try to make sure that vision gets melded together,
And I think it's something that we talk about often. It's not like we set this vision 7 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever, that, okay, like we want to be entrepreneurs, we want to build these businesses, we want to travel the world. We talk about it often. Like, what is that next step? What does that next immediate step look like? And then also, what does that future look like for us as a couple? And it's not this like arbitrary pie in the sky thing. It is concrete. And that's one of the reasons that Braden always makes us get like the big ass yearly calendar. And I'll put it in the notes section of this YouTube, like what it is, because we want to see and put on paper those immediate goals and those immediate things that we want to do. And even like, it doesn't have to be business goals, you guys. Like one of them is coming up in the future goals is Braden wants to race the Baja 1,500.
Yeah,
which one is it?
The 1,000.
The Baja 1,000. And then also the King of Motos race out in California next year. I want to spend a month in Mexico. Like these are immediate goals that we both want to accomplish. And so we have to write them down and know, okay, like if he wants to race these races in the next couple of years, the next year, whatever, like we're going to have to make sacrifices as a family in order to make that happen. And which is great. Like it's going to be awesome, right? How cool is that? Like those are dreams being fulfilled. Like I want to go to Mexico for a month. These are dreams being fulfilled. But I think it's having those conversations about what you want immediately to happen for your family and what you want to create. And then also that bigger, more legacy picture.
Yeah, but there's a part of that's delayed gratification, and there's sacrifice now, which is, I feel like, me personally, I try to balance that really well of being like living now and today and getting out and getting after it, but also setting yourself up for the future, and I have friends on both ends of the spectrum. I see people that just work constantly to set up their future. And sometimes it doesn't always work out, right? Like life ends. We don't have that long on this earth. And then I see people who just, are just doing what I wish I could do and just playing and driving the car they want to drive and doing all that stuff and living totally 100% for today, right? And so I try to create a balance in between that, I guess. And I feel like I do that pretty well. But you gotta know where you want to get to in order to get there.
Yeah. What are your long-term vision? What is your long-term vision for your real estate business, for Wheelies and Waves, for our family?
Yeah, I think through like the personal development and growth that I've done, it's like a really good book for this is the 10X Rule with Grant Cardone, and you got to think bigger, man. I think a lot of people do just tend to play way too small. And so for me, like the goals have gotten a lot bigger over the last 10 years. I realize we're not here that long, and so like you don't really have that long of a window to figure it out. And so
a lot of people just freaking sit around and think they have forever. You don't.
Yeah, like I want to be present with my kids, I want to be able to spend a lot of time with my kids. And obviously, like I was just talking about, there's a trade-off there, right? Between like working really hard and spending time with your kids. And your kids never remember how long hard you worked, but they'll remember the time you spent with them, So the big goal is 100 million in real estate, for us, and whether that's partners or whatever. And then, so I take that big goal and then I break it down into like a smaller goal, or where are we at now? And so the first rendition of that
And where
big goal.
are we now? What does that look like?
The first rendition of that big goal is $1 million of debt with real estate, right? Because if you get $1 million of debt, again, we could dive more into real estate, but there's good debt and bad debt. And so the good debt with real estate.
Go follow him on Instagram or send him an email.
Yeah, is investment real estate, and it's not debt that we have to pay, not like this house that we have to pay for every single month. But so we achieved that, and so like, it kind of goes like become a real estate millionaire, become a net worth millionaire, and then, bigger goals on from there. I would say, I bought my first house when I was 23, right when we first met. So that was 2009. And then I kind of just, put real estate aside for a while. But since I've gotten fired back up about it, got super clear on my goals. And so I go into these events and seeing these people with, I've gotten around those people that have hundreds of millions of dollars of real estate, right? And I get in the rooms with those people. And so for me, it makes that huge goal way more obtainable because I can see people that already do it and already have it, And so for us, in total, like our real estate, we have maybe a $2.5 million portfolio, and the next goal is to get to 10 million with partners or just myself personally. And it's tough, man, to push from this. It's been a push to get to here, and it'll be a push to get to this next level of like say 10 million, and then from 10 million to 100 million is going to continue to be a push and growth. And I'm gonna have to change who I am as a person and evolve, right? But I'm still taking the action to get there. It still doesn't feel like it's happening fast enough. And I just got to realize like I don't control time, man. And and it's always cool to look backwards and see, and it'll be cool to look back on these videos and see where we're at now. But I can look back and it's really cool to see how far we've come, from like, I saw the picture the other day. I was putting together a grill at my first house that I bought, and Courtney had come down and when we went and bought the grill from Home Depot, the guy said, this grill takes 2 hours and a 6-pack of beer. And Courtney drank the 6-pack and I took the 2 hours to put the grill together, But like that's where we were at. It was just like getting that first property, walking through all that renovation and learning that. And since then, obviously, we've scaled up and now it's different problems to deal with and a slightly different team and things like that. So,
yeah. And I think it's also knowing that the goal, it's not just this arbitrary goal to have 100 million in real estate. It's the bigger picture of why we want to have that goal, of the life we want to live while we're here, but also the legacy that we want to leave for our kids. And I think a lot of times people think, and we've had this conversation a lot recently, that like a lot of these parents or a lot of these families like wait, this is like really morbid to say, but they like wait until the parents pass away to pass along this like large sum of money to their children, and their children are kind of just like hanging out, waiting around for this large sum. And we're like, we don't want to do that. Like, we want to show through our actions that, like, so many parents just say, like, you can be whatever you want to be when you grow up. But are they showing that to their kids?
Yeah.
And so we want to show our kids, we want to tell them, these are our goals. This is what we're accomplishing. This is why we're working hard. So number one, they know why we're working hard. And then number two, when they see it happen, they believe that they can be anything. And then we're there to support them and to show them the path. Like, where do you learn financial literacy? Where do you learn entrepreneurship? Where do you learn what it is to be a human? It's from us. It's from your parents. And so we want to make sure that we're super dialed into what we want to leave for our families.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's any like correct way to go about it, right? There's not like there's some secret special formula. Like, I think we all develop our own stories when we grow up, right? And we all know the super successful family that's got a kid that's a mess up, and can't get his shit together.
Addict, yeah.
And we all know someone who came from the ghetto and has been super successful. So to me, I see, like, I don't know, for the most part, I think most of those people who are super successful have dealt with certain challenges or the biggest challenges in their life. Look at Tony Robbins. He dealt with a lot of stuff growing up, and then now he's like super successful. So, like, for me, having the challenges of my childhood, if you will, or the story of the stories I grew up with, like, they helped to turn me into wanting to be successful like that. And again, I think it can go either way. Like, you can grow up in a financially literate household and be taught all this stuff, and you can just be successful. So, I don't know if there's like a secret formula there. I don't know if our sons are going to be really successful or they want to be like beach bums in Ocean Beach. I don't think you can control it. And I think that's the cool thing about being a parent is like, these are their own people and they're going to figure it out, but we're here to guide them along the way. And like Courtney said, for sure, just support their dreams and try to help them to reach for the stars and shoot bigger,
Yeah, definitely. And that's something, I don't know, I also think about this all the time. We've talked about this. It's like, you can't control who they're going to be or what they're going to do in the future. Especially we both have addiction on both sides of our family. Like the addiction on both sides of our family runs strong. Braden has been sober now for 18 years.
18 plus years.
18 plus years. I'm sober right now because I have a baby in my belly, but I am not sober. I drink alcohol. And that is something though that becoming a parent, I truly, especially now that like we've talked about this last episode, like he is a freaking sponge. I grew up in a household where drinking alcohol every single day was normal. I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing, right? And that's just how I grew up. And now I am super conscious of, I don't want my sons to grow up in a house where drinking alcohol every single day is normal and using it to unwind at the end of the day. I want to set the better example and I want to be that better parent for the future. I don't know. It's just crazy. You cannot control the outcome, right? There's so many different ways that things can go, but I think it's just doing our best and being the examples for our kids and sharing what that's going to be. So 100 million in real estate. What else?
Yeah, a kid with a work ethic.
With a work ethic.
He's not going to necessarily inherit it, but be able to build it himself. Let's see. And then I do try to get into some legacy projects, one being building some new trails here in our valley. So some more just recreational stuff and stuff that I really love to deal with. That's the most fun legacy stuff I get to do. And then I guess, putting some stuff out there like this with Courtney that can help impact other people's lives, right? And help people grow. So I really love to have those conversations with people, where I can kind of share some of my mindset and what I've learned in reading and working on myself, and then watch them implement that and kind of change the direction of their life, And I've seen it happen, man. So that's the coolest stuff for me that really lights me up. You can have all the achievement in the world, but if there's, I don't know. I always talk about the guy in the red convertible BMW that's fat and unhappy, and like that's not the goal to drive the nice car, but be out of shape, unhappy, and not have any friends. So I would say the biggest legacy would be not like thinking about who's at your funeral, but like how people would think about you when you're not in the room, or just kind of the type of impact that you're going to leave on them. Our community just lost one of these people, man, in an avalanche. And this guy, Eric, it's wild to see just the impact he had on our community and how much his thoughts and leadership impacted so many people. So I think that's the part that's really important that a lot of people miss, like the financial stuff, as I said earlier, like that's just to create some freedom and really time freedom to allow me to do more of this kind of stuff, right? And then, allow us to see the world, which in fact allows us to impact more people seeing like how we're able to live our life. Like I hear it a lot, man, like you're living the dream. And I question people on what they mean by that, because this is my dream. And so what does that dream look like for you, and what kind of legacy do you want to leave, and asking those kind of questions to help other people, figure out what their moonshot is and their big goal and work towards that.
Yeah. Well, babe, I am so proud of you. I am proud of the legacy that we are leaving together as a couple, and I have absolutely loved having this conversation with you and being able to share it with others. And so thank you so much for being on this series on my YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
I love you.
Love you.
I'm excited what we're doing here. And if you loved this, make sure to share it with friends. If you want to find Braden, find him on Instagram at The Adventure Investor. I'll put his email below as well. If you want to email him, reach out to him. When I say that he loves talking on the phone and connecting with people and talking about goals and talking about building businesses and talking about entrepreneurship, I mean, he freaking loves it. Like, it is what lights you up, I feel like, is that contribution and helping other people. And I love it too. So thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to our channel, to my channel. And remember, the world is your oyster, friend. We'll see you next time.
See ya.